thing. 5 minutes. You know who they are. Yeah. Pushing a bike, and if you're a real fan, you know who these guys are.
Welcome its staging area as we get you ready. Opening round for the Motocross Summer, the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. Jason Wygant, Jason Thomas, former racer in this series. We're going to bench race with you for the next hour. We'll bring on some special guests, and we're going to get everyone hyped for what should be an awesome summer of motocross competition. We started here in Southern California at Fox Raceway at Pala. JT, man, there's no more exciting thing in this sport. The first race is the best. Other sports, you go to Game 7, the playoffs, the last day of the year. No, our best day is this day, round 1.
Well, I always come into these races and I have way more questions than answers, right? And I feel like we are such students of the sport, and I feel like most questions that people ask of me, I have an answer for. I don't have any, and that's probably the most exciting part. Yeah,
and there's a ton of things that have even changed over the last couple of weeks and even leading into this weekend of racing, but we're going to bring some special guests up here on staging area. We got some guests thanks to Monster Energy. Let's bring Twitch, Jeremy Stenberg on up to the stage. We're going to do some world-class motocross bench racing here. So I said that the stories have been changing. Good to see you, Twitch. I said the stories have been changing. I don't think anyone had Ryan Dungey is going to race this series on the bingo card coming in. JT, like you said, you and I are insiders, and when we first heard this, I think we were like, wait, like, what? Like, for real? Like, it could not even sink in how crazy it is that Dungey's racing.
Well, of course, Ryan Dungey, and then another rider we're going to talk, it's like we're flashback to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
These would have been the same storylines, and Tomac would have been relevant then too. So it's definitely one of the biggest storylines of the season. It wasn't somebody 2 or 3 months ago that we would have even considered to be in this series, but now you look at kind of the landscape of the series and you're like, could he? Like I'm starting to talk myself into this thing, right? And I mean, he's going to have to go out and prove it tomorrow, but I'm coming around pretty quickly on Ryan Dungey.
So that's shocking, and we'll get to some breaking news right now. Sadly, Dylan Ferrandis, the operator of this normally number 14 machine, who should be carrying the number 1 plate in this series, he hurt his thumb when they were riding at this track on Tuesday, and he is out at least for the weekend, maybe more than that, maybe for the whole summer. So your defending champ, the Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha rider, Dylan Ferrandis, is out. So yeah, things are changing in a hurry. We'll bring you in on this, Twitch. Did you think any chance that you would see Ryan Dungey, A, racing, and B, we're starting to think, wait a minute, maybe Dungey could be in the contention for this.
It's crazy because a lot of these dudes retire young, and they're still badass. Like, they still have it in them. And, you know, he went and did the whole family thing, and you get to a point where it's like you ride dirt bikes your whole life, like you miss it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like what I seen. And a couple months ago, I seen him out here testing a bunch. I've seen him out here like 9 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Him and Jade are posting photos and video, and I'm like, he's putting a lot of R&D in right now for the team. And so when I heard the breaking news, I was like, this is cool. Like, as a fan of the sport, like, I'm stoked to see Dungey back.
And it's maybe different in this sport and others. Like, you know how to ride, you know how to ride. I'm sure when you saw him riding, he's ripping.
Yeah, the funny thing is like, I saw a bunch of I watched like the raw footage of him on Vital that day, and he's so smooth that he looks slow, but you see him go by people really fast.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how this weekend plays out. I'm definitely stoked.
Well, and we should have known better because there were smoke signals, right? When you're talking about him being out here at 4:30 in the afternoon, the track's blown out. It's not a lot of fun at that time of the day. So unless you have some sort of agenda on your mind and a reason to be out here, most people are long gone, right? You're back at the house sitting poolside if you're retired. Like
by 1 o'clock, you're out of here.
Exactly.
Yeah. And last year, it was a bit of a struggle for that KTM team. They didn't get race wins that they expected from Marvin Muscan and Cooper Webb. So they brought Dungey out at the end of the year and just said, hey, just ride the bike. Just give us an unbiased third-party opinion. And Roger DeCoster said Dungey was faster than Marv and Cooper.
I heard the stopwatch and like the data that they get out of him with like his roll speed and just everything was like better than everybody on the team every day that he rode. So it's like
crazy.
A dude of that caliber is not going to come back and half-ass it. So I'm interested.
Well, and JT and I have talked about this, Twitch. Like, that's almost a scary part. Like, if Ryan Dungey was coming to shake some hands and wave to the fans and get 8th place, that would be cool. But I don't believe that's what he's here to do.
No, I have him as a top 5 guy this weekend for sure.
I think he does. Like, maybe the first round, JT gives himself a little rope. But for the most part, I don't think Dungey's coming back to do anything less than he used to be. He wants to be up front.
No, and the tough part is you can talk yourself into anything. You can come in here and say, I don't have any expectations. I've been retired for a long time. But when he lines up, Ryan Dungey only really knows one way to do this, and that's to be at the front, right? Because he's going to be racing a lot of the same guys that he was racing before. So he's not going to be cool if Jason Anderson's pulling away from him or insert whoever. That's not going to sit well. It doesn't matter if he's been gone a long time. That inner racer that is Ryan Dungey's going to come out at, 2 o'clock tomorrow.
I heard a bunch of people saying too, like, oh, he's been out for so long, the elevation of the speed and all the riders, but I saw some footage where I seen Anderson in front of him, Sabachi, and he was catching him every lap. He was getting closer and closer, and I'm like, even though it's press day, you're still going for it. Like, you're still going, like, to see what you got, so.
Yeah, he wants to know where he stands.
But he's got to be feeling it out a little bit too, right? I'm sure he feels good, and I think everybody that's ever raced, like, you feel pretty good, and then until you line up with everybody, and then you really find out what's what.
You can practice and train as hard as you want, but when it comes race day, he's a little older now. Is his stamina going to be there at the halfway point when it's hot, crappy out?
I truly believe he's pretty confident. He knows what to do. He's probably put himself through boot camp and all those things to prepare himself, but somewhere in the back of his mind when he lays down to go to sleep tonight, he's got to be wondering, right? Can I still do this?
Yeah.
It's been 6 years since I've been in this series. He's got to be around 33 years old now. Has time passed him by, right? He's going to have to face that tomorrow. He's the only one that can answer that, but as confident as I think he probably is, there's somewhere in the back of his mind where he's wondering just like we are.
Yeah, that's going to be some sleepless nights maybe the next couple rounds we're done. Just bring more guests on over. We got Jeremy Twitch-Stenberg. This should be a good one. We're going to enter the sleigh ground. All right, we got Axel Hodges with us here on staging area, so we'll do some more bench racing. Certainly a guy who's turned some laps on a motocross track in his own right. Same thing, we're rapping about Ryan Dungey being part of this series. It's just a crazy deal, but Twitch said he's seen him out here doing some work, so have you seen Dungey here and there? Same thing?
All have I seen, I've been on Instagram every day, just seeing all the
pumped on it,
the 60-second videos on Instagram. Yeah, I'm pumped to see Dungey come back. He's an animal, and for someone that retired, he still just looks like he's in great shape, and he's a champion for a reason. He knows what to do, and I think he's going to put in the work. Yeah, and Twitch said he saw him out here riding at 4:30 in the afternoon. That's commitment if you want to do that on these tough tracks. Yeah, I'm hoping he does the whole series, not just the two.
I know.
Like pounding down, he wants to do the whole series.
Like Jason was saying, no one's out here at 4 in the afternoon riding for no reason. You know what I mean? Like the track is so blown out by then. So yeah, he's doing his homework.
So that's big surprise number one, that Dungey's in the series. They said 2 rounds. I think we know he's in for 12. The next one is a little bit more of a mystery. So KTM, they were throwing everything they have at this. It was a tough Supercross season for them. They lost the title with Eli Tomac grabbing it on Monster Energy Star Yamaha. So also Tony Cairoli. I don't know how familiar he is to all the American fans, but world-class racer all the way.
Oh, yeah.
9-time world champ, and he keeps saying 2 rounds. But it's going to be awesome. It's like a bucket list thing, JT. Fans finally get to see this dude in person. He's one of the best ever.
He is, and I come back to the fact, if you are, you're in Austria and you're at a KTM board meeting and you're like, man, it's been a tough 2022. We really need to try to go win in the U.S., win Lucas Oil Pro Motocross this season. What can we do? What are our options? And somewhere, some intern throws out, let's get Ryan Dungey back and let's send Cairoli over. Like, that guy's now fired, but they ended up using his plan.
Yes.
Yeah. It is 2022. You don't know what can happen.
No, last couple of years, we've learned, expect the unexpected. It's cool, and okay, I know that you're like California freestyle guy. I think there was a time when we thought like, how good are the European riders? Maybe 20 years ago, but we all know now, you could argue that their level is even higher than what we have over here.
When you look at some of their tracks, like I watched their races on the weekend, their tracks are gnarly, and those dudes are going for it. And Cairoli, I saw him doing his homework today. I came out this morning to watch my little buddy Gavin Sayers race, and he was over there lifting all the gates, filming all the gate drops. I'm like sitting there watching him. I'm like, oh, he's studying right now.
For real?
He was watching all the bikes come out of the gate, what they were doing. He was on the side filming. I'm like, yeah, he's studying.
He's got some Tony Alessi in his game.
Oh, wow. He keeps saying this is just fun. He doesn't care about the result. They don't have
that's
that.
when you do better, when it's fun.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. I've talked to some people. I've been in Europe a lot over the last few months, and everyone I've talked to is like, no. Like he's definitely like putting it out there. This is for fun, but he's not coming over here without working really hard. And I heard he just kind of like trained through. Like he stopped racing in November, finished his MXGP series last year with this plan in mind, because I spoke to him about it last summer. I spoke to him about this plan, and I don't think there was a lot of time off. I think he's just kind of been working towards this slowly to be prepared for here. So I think he's keeping it really low key to keep expectations low, but I think quietly he's going to make some noise tomorrow.
I know, like, when we were competing and whenever we would go to Europe, we're like, we're going to smoke the Europeans. So, it's like the Europeans are like, oh, we're going to go smoke the Americans now, he's coming over for a reason for sure.
Yeah, and that's probably why he wants to take a little pressure off. Like, I'm not here to be us against the world thing. I'm just trying to do my deal. But if the results start to come, people are going to say those things.
Yeah.
We're all going to say it anyway.
We already knew it.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do it. It is crazy that, okay, everybody's got this. So he's 4 years older than Dungey, but Dungey was retired where Cairoli really wasn't. So I'll just ask you guys, like JT first. What's worse, being older or being retired in between? Who's got more to overcome? 36-year-old Cairoli or 32 but retired Dungey?
Well, I'd like to defer until about 5:30.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
But I think you can make a case for either one, right? Cairoli has the momentum because he's just been in this, and he was at a winning level pace just 6 months ago, where Dungey was at a winning level pace 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So does Cairoli's age play out more than Dungey's time away? I don't know. I would kind of call it a wash. I think they're going to be probably pretty close to each other tomorrow. So, yeah, 6 and 1, half a dozen the other.
What's crazy is we've all been hearing this for at least 2 or 3 years that Dungey's wanted to come back and was talking to teams. So it's like he wants it, you know, like he wants to be here. That's what's cool. So
yeah, and that bike's only gotten better since he retired. So he's probably on that thing. Like this thing feels good.
Yeah, loving it. Now, that's the good news, getting those two guys in the series, but we got the terrible news really this morning that it broke that Dylan Ferrandis is out. Now, he's got to get thumb surgery. I don't think that's going to be a fast return. They've only said he's just out for the weekend for now. We don't know, but man, that really opens the gate here because, dude, last year, you look at his stats, he was kind of untouchable.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing him this year. I'm like, I want to see him with the #1 plate. I want to see him back this title up, and he's just a fun dude to watch ride. Like, he's just so smooth and so far off the back of the bike. Like, he just has a cool style.
Yeah, so that's a bummer, but at the same time, little wind in the sails for some other riders.
Yeah, for sure. They got Tomac on that Yamaha too, so they got a good backup.
That's not bad to have Eli Tomac. But JT, we were here for it. We were here for Tomac versus Ferrandis. It would have been awesome.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this earlier. You know, if you are Jason Anderson or Ryan Dungey or whoever, right? Whoever considers himself a contender coming into tomorrow, and you're kind of looking out and you're like, okay, who am I going to have to deal with? Who's a real threat? Who's not? Obviously, Dylan Ferrandis was near the top of that list. That was a guy that you had to take seriously. You knew he was going to be there after last summer's performance. Well, one of those big chess pieces just got pulled off the board, right? And even if it's just one round, that's 40 or 50 points that he's not going to score tomorrow. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be a longer injury than that. But everybody's odds of winning this championship just went up, right? And even the guys that we might not even be talking about that, you know, Jason Anderson hasn't even won an overall yet, right? Chase Sexton has, one win, and it was here, right? So those guys that are on, I would say the fringe guys for a championship that are looking to take the next step, their job just got a lot easier by Ferrandis exiting.
Yeah, we always talk about confidence, right? Everybody got that little extra like, well, that's one less guy I got to deal with. Man, how gutted must Ferrandis be? You do all of the work, and not a single result to show for it.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But on another note, like, I'm pretty excited to see Anderson this year, too.
Yeah.
Like, he's coming off a good season of Supercross. He looks good. Like, when I seen him first start riding the Cowie, I'm like, he looks like when he won the championship on Husky. Like, he came out of the gate firing, and, like, he was pretty consistent.
I think Axel, like, he hasn't won a motocross overall, but the dude rides good. It just hasn't worked out. It's not like he's terrible at it.
Yeah. It seems like he's in a good spot too. He's happy. He came off a great Supercross season, and I know from experience the Kawasaki rips. So I want to see that thing for a whole shot. Team
He's just trying to get that boys in there.
I like that. That's well done. That's well done. Yeah, JT, that was the debate that we were having. Is your record what it says you are? If you haven't won a race, does that mean you haven't won a race? I've argued that Anderson's been really good. Maybe just Tomac who was one of the best ever, was 2% better, and Tomac would beat him, but he did second. It doesn't mean he's terrible.
No, and you could argue that Anderson's best season ever was in a season that he got runner-up position in the Supercross Championship, right? I agree with Twitch. He looks better to me than he did in 2018, right? Yeah. The challenge is going to be, can he carry that momentum? Because he's been on for 5 months, the best we've ever seen him. It's a really long year to carry that momentum through another series. Look at Eli Tomac in 2020, was unable to do that. It's a very rare case when someone can come off of being that sharp for 5 months, having no real issues, like they've avoided crashes, they've avoided injuries, they've avoided everything, carry it through another 24 motos on that same level. It just doesn't seem to happen. So that's what I'll be looking for with Anderson is, does he start to feel the fatigue of being that sharp for that long?
You know, that's interesting, right? Because we have seen at the first round or two of the year, the guys who didn't do Supercross, so in this case that'd be, say, Dungey, Cairoli, we'll talk about Ken Roxen in a moment, they had more time to prepare, to think outdoors, to ride outdoors. The other guys are coming in from Supercross and they're not usually ready, and that often leads to crazy results in the first couple rounds. So that's kind of the shootout there. Like, we know Roxen had health issues. We know Dungey was retired. We know Cairoli semi-retired. But they've been not doing any Supercross. That's got to be their advantage in some ways. Just not even...
Yeah,
I'm
fresh.
fully focused on this, and they're fresh.
They're fresh and they're hungry. They want to come out swinging and put it to the boys that have been on top all year. So they definitely have been watching those dudes and studying them. And
getting fired up.
But at the same time, I think Tomac and Anderson have just been having a head-to-head all year too, so they just keep pushing each other, which I think is really cool. And
I'm interested to see how Roxen comes out of the gate. He's like, you know, he was bitter. He was pissed, like with all his health issues and everything. And I seen his videos, and I seen his Instagram post the other day where he was like a novel of talking crap. Where it's like, I am still here. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to him. That dude got some grunt in him.
Yes, and that's the thing, especially Ken Roxen. You said it, JT. Doubt him at your own peril. Like if you want to start putting dirt on top of the grave of Ken Roxen, be careful, because he can hang a 1-1 on you any day.
Well, especially early in these series, right? We should know better than to think he's going to come out and do anything other than be his best self tomorrow. That's just what he does at the beginning of the series. And we've seen him struggle to carry that, you know, round 9, 10, 11, 12. But I don't have any doubt. We're looking at, you know, the highest 71 tomorrow. Like everything looks like Ken Roxen should be at the front. Now he's got to execute that, but it certainly looks good from here.
Yeah. And you know what? The riding style always looks awesome when Ken Roxen's on it.
Always.
Yeah.
He just has good style. He just attack position the whole time. Like, it's cool.
Okay, so that just gives you an idea of what we're dealing with here. So there's so many mysteries. We don't know what Roxen's going to give us. You don't know what Dungey's going to give you. You don't know what Cairoli's going to give you. And even Tomac, who might have been the odds-on coming in, he had a bit of a knee injury. Not too bad. He said he's 90%. I don't know. I mean, we don't know exactly what we're going to get from him either.
Tomac's a bad dude on a dirt bike, so I'm not down.
You're not down to one bit, okay.
He's going to come out and pin it for sure, so I'm excited to see Tomac.
And especially how you see him jump on that Yamaha right away and just literally was just like one with the bike the whole season. So, and he's even better outdoors. So it's going to be an insane
that bike
season.
won last year, and now he's on that bike, so
he's salivating.
I heard a little bit of the infamous stopwatch wars they have all week. Everybody's like, oh, who's the fast guy? And it never really matters on Saturdays. But I've heard some really impressive lap times coming out of the Tomac camp just, you know, the last week or two that he's been in California. So we'll see if that plays out tomorrow. Right.
Yes.
I know that's breaking news.
Yeah.
Tomac's fast. Right. I know that's really going to make headlines.
And he's in shape.
I heard some stuff too at the beginning of the season when he first jumped on that bike. Like he wasn't sure about Supercross yet. He jumped on it and he rode. He's like, I got these dudes covered for outdoors. He said, I don't know about Supercross yet, but outdoors, I got these dudes.
Yeah, I heard that. Like, he was supposed to take a few weeks and just ride it in motocross to get used to it, and after like 1 week, he's like, we're good. Yeah. It's time to go on Subi. That's dangerous. Think about that.
Especially with him.
I know, because he's already a 3-time champ.
Yeah.
And also something else I noticed from going to the races this year, you guys were at some Supercross doing freestyle. The fans, I feel, have really turned toward Eli Tomac. They always respected him. Everybody always knew he was good, but I feel like he is becoming a fan favorite now.
It's like they changed overnight. Like you hear him just in every section he was going by, they were just the crowd was just roaring.
But he turned too. That's the whole thing. Like he's come out of his shell,
That's
and
true.
I think people have reacted to that.
Yeah,
right? He's given them some personality, and they've given him their fandom back.
Yeah, that's got to help.
I feel like when an athlete has personality, it's easier to relate to them and back them and want to be their fan. When they're just all business, you're like, is this guy a jerk? Is he nice? Like, you don't know. You know what I mean? So,
but then now he's got the fans too, and I know the fans, that's giving him for some extra drive, because I know when I'm riding, I got fans.
You feel
screaming
that.
at me. I'm like, I'm going.
You feel that. Yeah, when we were down in Daytona, and he's trying to track down Cooper Webb, I mean, they were losing their minds for him to catch Webb. Can't hurt. That's for sure.
And I don't know if anybody else was at Denver, but one of the loudest crowds I've ever heard in my life, them screaming for Eli Tomac, right?
Yeah.
And that just shows the turnaround he's had, because I think I look back to a rider like Ryan Villapoto. We all knew the personality was there. If you talk to Ryan Villapoto in the truck after the race, he was making jokes and it's the life of the party. Put him in front of a microphone and zero personality. He gives you nothing, right? And I think that was Eli Tomac until this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's that he feels secure in his legacy. I don't know if he feels like no matter what happens from here, I've done everything that I ever set out to do and I can just be myself now. But whatever it is, he's a completely different person this year. And you're seeing that play out on the motorcycle too. Like he has personality when he's riding the bike too.
I feel like having kids too changes things. Like it puts your job into more of like a perspective of like, okay, I'm not just providing for myself now. It's my whole family, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. He's only gotten better really since then. I also think, okay, you guys, they know you guys have fun when you're on your motorcycles. That is totally your brand. Like you are doing it because you love it. And I think fans want to know that the guys like it. They don't want to see guys doing their dream, winning races, being paid to race, and being miserable while they do it. You can see the joy in Tomac, and I think the fans are like, Yeah, if I was him and I was doing what he was doing, I'd be happy. Why are you not happy? He looks happy this year, and I think that goes a long way.
It's cool.
Yeah, so that's awesome. That's our 450 class. We'll dig a little bit into the 250s. You guys got some work to do, by the way.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go jump here in about an hour.
Woo! Okay, right out back?
Yep.
Oh, all right, gonna go launch it. All right, that's cool. We got some fans coming over here. This is something new we're starting this year for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. We're gonna do it every Friday, 6 to 7 local time. Big thanks to Monster Energy for helping us make it happen. Myself, Jason Wygant, Jason Thomas. Today joined by Jeremy Stenberg, Twitch, and Slay, Axel Hodges. Let's talk 250 class. Last year we had no idea what was going to happen. Jett Lawrence won the title. He's back. You figure he's only going to keep getting better because he's still young, still improving. That's going to be dangerous for everybody else. They've got to find a way to knock him down a peg.
Yeah, that kid's bad, man. He totally reminds me of a Hanson with heart. Like, he wants it, you know what I mean? Like, I love Hanson. He's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
But, like, you watch him ride, he reminds me of a Hanson that, like, really wants to be there and really wants to win. Like, he's rad to watch. He's so smooth. And some of the things you see him do on the bike, you're like, how did he even think of that?
Yeah. Some you can't teach.
No.
And some is through reps. You like watching Jett Lawrence out there? Everybody,
for sure.
Yeah.
I've been out here riding on like a Tuesday, and he just goes by me. Looks like he's not even trying, and bunny hops over a bump and gone. I'm like, okay.
There it is.
Yeah,
there
that
it is.
dude is a bad dude on a dirt bike. And he gets mad like when people say that he's lucky or whatever, but he gets pissed. You can see that he wants it, and he's like, no, I put in the work, and that's why I'm winning.
Yeah,
so,
it's funny. I'm glad you brought that up. He is getting so much attention that there's almost starting to turn in this backlash of like, oh, everybody wants to talk about is Jett Lawrence. What more can the guy do, JT, to earn it? He's won the last 2 titles he's raced for. He's only 18. It's completely legit.
Listen, this is his world. We're just in it, right? And, you know, I think he does everything the right way. Like, he's happy-go-lucky. He doesn't seem like he's feeling any pressure at all, right? He's on top of the world right now at 18 years old. I see nothing but success in front of him. And honestly, I think he might make this 250 series kind of boring. I really, like, I think we have some serious contenders, his brother being one of them, and Justin Cooper and a few other guys we could talk about, but you look at the level of growth and progression for Jett Lawrence, and you look at a year ago when he was 17, how good and mature and consistent he was, and now, what's he going to be like a year later? Like, how do these guys stack up? And that's what they're going to have to figure out tomorrow, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, he's on the incline, right? He's only going to improve. You guys got to get ready to do some jumps.
Yep.
All right, Jeremy Stenberg and Axel Hodges, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having us.
You're our first ever guest. We'll never forget. We will never forget our first guest. Slay and Twitch, thanks. Always good to hang out. Yep, and for the fans live on hand, when our show is done at 7, they will be doing freestyle as soon as we're done, so stick around. It's way more spectacular to watch them than it is to listen.
All I can think about is Axel jumping like those wall jumps. I have no idea what's going through his mind at any time, especially then.
No, it doesn't. These are the things that, like, when you were, like, in school, someone would be like, what if someone took a dirt bike and did that? Now he just does those things.
Yeah.
Like, he took the what if and made it real.
And, like, you know, same for you and whoever. People ask you, like, how does he do? I'm like, I don't know. Like, he's defying physics. Like, none of that makes any sense in my world at all. Like, I'm just awestruck, just like everybody else.
Absolutely. But we'll give it to you live. We'll have Twitch and Slay out there in the back doing some freestyle. So we were starting here, JT, with the 250 class. So Jett Lawrence, he already wins the title. He proved he could deal with pressure. That last round at Hangtown was a disaster. He almost choked. He almost threw it away. You know he's going to learn from that. So at this point, I feel like the world is just waiting to see, like, is he going to be his own worst enemy? Is he going to mess it up? But what's impressive is you see the people around him. He stays pretty grounded for how much success, because we've seen dudes get derailed, but they've done everything they can to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, it's been really impressive all the way around. I think having an older brother that's kind of gone through all these steps and Jett's just been kind of waiting in the wings and watching.
Yeah.
I think that's helped a little bit of like, this is how you do it. This is how you carry yourself. This is how you take the next step forward. And he's been traveling around the world from Australia to racing in Europe to racing here. So this is just seems like another cog in the wheel towards becoming what he eventually wants to be, which is a 450 champion. And I don't see really anyone in the way at the moment.
I'll throw one other factor, and then we're going to take a break here. The Australian factor. You were as close you get. Chad Reed for 10 years or something like that. They are gnarly, dude. And when Jett Lawrence was first kind of coming of age here, and I had some sponsors reach out and be like, what's this kid all about? And I'm like, you need to talk to the parents. They keep their kids humble. They don't accept anything but full effort. They don't let the kids get too big.
Yep.
There's an Australian thing of grit that he has on his side also.
Yeah, and if you look up the word Australian in the dictionary, there's like, see also grit, cocky, confident. Like there's all these things that go along with that. And yeah, those guys they just carry an air about them. And some people if you could mistake it as arrogance, it's really not. They're just very confident in themselves. Yeah. And they're very transparent with that. They're not scared to tell you about it. And they don't mean anything by it. It's just a cultural thing. But I think that's one thing that Jett's done a really good job of. When you talk to him, you feel like you're talking to a kid, which you are. He's 18, but it doesn't seem like he's this pro motocross champion at all. No. Like you could see him playing video games or riding his bicycle around the track just as easily as winning a Lucas Oil Pro Motocross race tomorrow. Yeah, definitely keeps himself pretty grounded. We're going to take a break here, our first ever edition of Staging Area here for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross here at the Monster Stage. If you're listening to us, come on over. We'll have freestyle when our show is done at 7. But for now, we'll take a commercial break and we'll be back with more guests, including the King of Supercross.
At Lucas Oil, we take pride in creating problem-solving products to make your car care easier. We protect your vehicle and make it run longer so you can focus on the things that matter most. Whether it's commuting to work, visiting a loved one, taking the kids where they need to go, going to the big game, or anywhere life takes you, Lucas Oil is committed to getting you there for all of life's important moments. Lucas Oil, it works.
Who's it going to be after 30 minutes and 2 laps? Heart rates are absolutely pinned right now. It is on right now. MAV TV live coverage, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. How can you not respect the grit, the heart, the effort?
Yeah, I'll take one.
I already got to go.
Jett Lawrence is the 2021 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross champion.
The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Series. This year on MAV TV.
We are back. It is Staging Area coming to you live. This is Fox Raceway at Pala in California. Opening round, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. And we've got motocross royalty here. Not me. I'm Jason Weigand, your host. But this is the King of Supercross, Jeremy McGrath. We got our live announcer, Rob Bidas, here, and Jason Thomas, who will be joining us as our pit reporter and podium announcer for motocross on television this year. So we were just bench racing. We had Jeremy Twitch-Stenberg and Slay Axel Hodges here. They left to do a freestyle show. Jeremy, can we get you in on that? Can you do some half pipe?
Absolutely not.
You're out.
No.
You're out.
Oh, I'm so out of that.
You know what's funny though? It's two totally different worlds now. But when you go back to those early days of freestyle, it was actually you. It was you and your racing peers kind of started the freestyle thing, and then it quickly went to a whole nother level.
Well, I think once we figured out it was, at the level you needed to do freestyle, quote unquote freestyle, it got to be in the way of our racing sort of thing. So,
So I have a story about this. Orlando Supercross, I want to say 94-ish, something like that. Okay, I'm a kid. I was helping the AMA at the time. I was down on the floor watching practice, and I didn't know this knack thing was a thing yet, right? And you maybe had started doing it in Europe.
Well, it kind of wasn't a thing until...
Right. So I'm standing on the track, and I see you do it, and I'm like, oh my God, McGrath just crashed. Like, I thought you were stepping off your motorcycle. I'm just losing my mind. And then I see you riding after. I'm like, I had no idea, like, it was like you're like a shapeshifter. Like, I didn't know what had happened. And then later on, I figured out, like, there wasn't social media or anything. So I'm asking everybody, did anybody see what happened in practice? The man stepped off his motorcycle and then kept going. I had no idea.
Yeah, someone has a photo of that.
There is a photo.
Yeah, there is a photo of that.
Yeah, but I was standing, like, down on the track on the floor watching, and I, like, started running because I'm like, oh my God, the, Supercross champ just crashed his brains out.
The other funny story about that is, Dave Arnold, who was the team manager at Honda at the time, came running back to the pits, and he's like, oh my God, you're not doing that. you're not doing that again.
Too gnarly.
Yeah. It's like, what were you thinking? What are you doing? And I was like, what? Like, cause I was doing it a lot at home.
Yeah.
So I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you almost fell off your bike. I was like, no, I didn't almost fall off my bike. I did it on purpose.
Dave and I needed to talk because we were in the same headspace.
I think everyone thought the same thing.
Had you done it in public though? Was that your debut?
I think it was the first time at a Supercross track. I probably had done it at the practice track maybe.
Yeah.
But remember, I had my own track.
Yep.
So that's where I kind of sort of started to learn it. And
right.
All you guys that have been around for a long time, you know that trick has kind of evolved over the time. And the first ones were kind of, you know, very archaic, I would say, or whatever. They were just kind of, you know, more like a BMX style trick, and they've now evolved into, you know, something way more. But it was easy. I had it under control.
You know what I want to add right now, and this is, you know, we're celebrating 50 years of motocross here, and this particular era, just a short time ago, you know, basically the 90s, you had to wait for whether it was a Cycle News or one of the magazines that would come out, which were unfortunately about 90 days behind. Jason, right now, if people wanted to at their home on their computer while they're at their grandma's house, while they're hanging out, they now have the ability to tune in and get you on the sidelines, you in the booth, you with MC and RJ in the booth, and they'll be able to have it, kind of own it forever, not wait for a rerun or something. I know you know a lot more about this than I do, but it's like, is it like under $4, like $3.50 for the first month because it's like half off?
Yeah, we got discount codes. Yeah, type in ProMX50 and we'll give you half off. You got to go to Mav TV and get their streaming service, or if your cable carries Mav TV, just watch it on TV. We won't charge you anything for that. So that'll be live every week, 1 o'clock local time. It's Pacific here. Myself, along with Jeremy McGrath and Rick Johnson. RJ couldn't be here. He had to go. Everybody's busting out stuff for the 50th anniversary. Honda has a 50th anniversary celebration of their own right now. A lot of history happening right now, Rob.
Well, I mean, obviously the history in you like it, I like it, I know Megawatt likes it, the other live announcer with it, JT, I know you like it, MC even likes it, Brock Glover, who's, you know, part of the El Cajon zone out here, he's literally watching this because next week he gets to be in the hot seat. He wants to know how he's going to get grilled and the stories he's got to come up
notes out.
In 50 years, what is the legendary MC
Hey, you should have seen
story?
RJ today. He had some notes out.
Oh, yeah.
Through our pre-production meetings, RJ had the notes out. He had some
I've never seen
color-coded stuff.
He had it printed, he had it bound.
Dude,
Not laminated.
Oh, yeah. He's doing
Bound
some
it,
serious homework.
yes, absolutely.
We're gonna have to fight for some airtime tomorrow for RJ.
RJ's ready. RJ's got things to say. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
He's gonna be ready.
That's awesome that you mentioned that, Rob, because yes, now you can see everything all the time. The racing, the guys on their social media, guys will start a live video and you'll watch them ride in their yard. You're talking about developing the knack-knack. Dude, nobody saw that coming. Like, it was complete secret.
That's also what made it so cool.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
We see a guy, you know, we see a freestyle guy doing a trick, in Europe, Tom Pages or somebody. You see him doing that front flip off a cliff and base jumping. I mean, we see all that stuff like now. You're like, then you call your friends like, hey, Rob, you see that? I mean, that stuff's pretty amazing. So to be able to get what you're going to get here versus what I was doing back in my backyard back in the day. It's a lot different.
Yeah, JT thinks you're crashing. He doesn't know you've done that.
I was looking for I was calling 1-800-COLLECT, asking anyone what happened. What went on?
On
the track.
Exactly. They were calling me going, what are you doing?
What are you doing? It's great.
I was calling Alyssa Milano. I was calling everybody.
It's painful, the things that you'll scroll through on Instagram and be like, and it was mind-blowing. If it was 20 years ago, you would have all been surrounding the X Games on TV to see this one thing, and now you just see it for 5 seconds and it barely holds your attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the funny thing. A lot of it throughout the years, you know, a lot of it's been, we're so used to it, it's watered down now. I mean, there's so many incredible things that have happened, and it happened like because of social media and live streaming and things like that. It's happened at warp speed. Yes. Right? And so we breeze over this gnarly trick, and then next week there's another one, and you're like, oh, we forgot about that one. And so we've grown up in this era where all these impressive things have happened, and we keep getting, you know, because the advancement's been so much that you sometimes just you take it for granted at how gnarly some of this stuff is, you know?
One of the things about the era, I think, when we were looking at it was not only were you somebody that absolutely dominated in the spectrum of sports, and then you showed everybody, no, I'm very versatile, I could do all this. But you literally got to ride the trickiest. He had a blue and white Honda. Then he's sponsored by a beer company.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the whole time, you just had that little next level thing going all the time.
The crazy helmets?
The helmets with the thing. Your era, I think, I'm sure the top guys get their helmets painted, but everybody, but your stuff, Troy would go to another level.
Well, I mean, it's to have a partner like Troy Lee and be one of my best friends and just have the guy doing what he's doing and just doing his thing, you know. And we would sit down and have so much fun with that. You know, it helps when you're winning, right? Because then those things get noticed.
When you win 72 Supercross races, you get to do cool things, Rob.
Yeah,
that's part of it. So I hear.
Yeah. So, but again, all of us being old enough to be lucky enough to grow up in the 90s, that was another, when things like that were developing, speaking about bikes, speaking about gear, speaking about different styles along the way, tricks, freestyle, supercross, motocross, all the stuff together. I mean, the 90s were where a lot of this stuff comes from today. And, it's kind of like probably what the same guys thought in the 80s, like when RJ was doing the 2-hip stuff, and back when No Fear started originally, or Life's a Beach back then, he was wearing his shorts over his moto gear. And so, I mean, with me at the time, I was just always trying to be different, looking for different things to do, wearing different things, different crazy ideas. It's just trying to figure out how to be different.
Think about, that 98, 99 when we switched from cotton jerseys to polyester. I remember getting the first one. I'm like, what is this? Like an astronaut suit? Am I going to the moon? What am I wearing? Where did this come from? Because all you knew was cotton. Like, it was just this hot cotton jersey that you cut
cotton that weighed like 2 pounds.
Cut holes in and sliced up, and then they gave me this space age material. It's pretty wild to live through those innovations. Yeah.
Speaking of space age, I mean, you were at Motocross Nationals. I know, obviously, you grew up at the track with your dad, Frank, and things. Folks, if you haven't been to an outdoor national yet, Monster's involved, obviously, for the 50th. And when they come loaded. We are on basically the Enterprise of stage. Like, this is the trickiest stage in the world. You can get up front. You can interact with everybody. Obviously, Jeremy's within distance. I'm sure you're going to all lurk around and get an autograph. Why wouldn't you? You're right up here. It's just really gone to a whole new level for this celebration.
And it's different than most other sports and motorsports. You get so much closer to motocross. I mean, the fence is a decent sense away from the track, but it does not feel that way when you're on it. It is much closer. There's nothing like being in a live motocross race compared to most racing with how close you actually get to that action, and you feel those same elements. It's pretty unique.
And we lost that for a year or two, right? And you didn't really – I personally took it for granted for a while until, we had this pandemic and things got really weird for a while. And thankfully, the powers that be were able to keep the sport going forward, but – fans weren't here, and that 2020 season, it was empty. Like, some of the races were weird. Literally no one there. And then you come back now, and you have this celebration. Everyone's so excited to be here. It's just going to be amazing tomorrow to start this up again.
The hardest one in that era was Red Bud 1 and then Red Bud 2.
Yeah.
When you have about 3, 4, I mean, there was hundreds of people at Red Bud.
And we're used to it.
And I mean, you're used to an absolute sea. Like, you could stage dive and get passed all the way up the hill, I think. And it was just surreal during, the pandemic when but man, did they rally back after that.
I remember, go ahead, Adam Cianciarulo won his first 450 overall, Red Bud. And I heard the cork pop. I heard it. I opened the door of the TV truck and I heard pop, and I'm like, there is no noise.
Did you scream Red Bud?
Just to help him out.
Okay,
yeah, perfect. I love you. Yeah. I love you, Adam. It's tragic compared to what we're used to at Red Bud. So they came back last year. They'll come back this year. We got a crowd here tonight. This is going to be good.
Well, that's exactly what we've noticed with a lot of things, right? I mean, motocross in general, it's going to be huge. With Monster being involved, it's awesome. I mean, as you guys said, this stage is like futuristic, really.
Yeah.
And what we've seen through the end, sort of the end or the wrapping up of some of the pandemic rules, we now have people that are so pumped to get to events and to have live events again. You've seen like it's doubled in capacity because people are just so pumped. So this weekend's going to be awesome, just like all the nationals, but a lot of fans, a lot of excitement. We get a lot of great ride. I love the first rounds, because you just, we can sit here and predict who's going to do what and all those things, but at the end of the day, we're going to see some good racing.
Well, everybody's tied in points at this moment in the round, so.
Well, we're just guessing. We're just guessing when we try to figure out who's going to do what. Just trying to make sure our sound's all dialed in here. Round one. Yeah, we're just guessing. Let's just admit it. We can say that we've got educated guesses, but we have no clue. Yeah. And the other thing, you lived it too. Even you don't know. You're on the gate. You don't 100%. Know for sure, right?
That's why we have a starting gate, because we just don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yes.
I mean, I could tell you within reason that it was going to go poorly. I knew that.
You were not expecting
No.
Not going to be at McGrath level?
Now, neither one of you two had to go through the qualifying portion. You were usually.
Of course I did. Are you crazy?
No.
JT lived it, bro.
Well, did you qualify outdoors? Were you still that? Would be
like time qualifying?
Yeah, time
yes,
qualifying. Right towards the end.
Yeah.
Normally, race on Saturday.
It's the most insane thing ever.
And when I raced, you remember they had day qualifiers.
Right, Saturday qualifiers.
Not time qualifiers.
No, you raced on Saturday. Then you had to race again on Sunday.
Yeah.
To get into the thing. By the time MC and Fro and those guys take the track, guys like Barry Karsten and them had raced like 8 times already.
They're exhausted.
Yeah,
you guys
that
are
day.
fresh. Yeah, you guys are fresh. You know, though, I love, you were saying, I want to be different. I want to do all this stuff. I always say there's 2 kinds of riders. There's those that just are good at racing and they like racing and they're like, I don't really care about the other stuff. I don't care about the style. I don't care about the fans. I don't care about being famous, popular. Then there's other guys that embrace that. But some would say, but that's a distraction. You were able to keep kind of both pots boiling. You were able to do the off-track stuff and the racing stuff, and I guess it didn't bother you to like, man, I'm getting pulled a lot.
Well, I mean, there was times when it was a little bit overwhelming, of course, trying to sort of maintain that, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all that. I think probably the riding part developed after the other part of it, which is, I don't know. I just like being in front of the fans, and I think that, I always have said this with motocross. I didn't start racing until I was 14.
Crazy.
So, I mean, Supercross was kind of right up my alley because of my BMX background. I raced BMX for a lot of years, traveled the country as a little factory kid, and was traveling all over the United States with my mom and my dad, and we were just charging. But, so Supercross sort of just kind of was right up my alley. I honestly didn't really know how to ride a motocross track good until probably 3 or 4 years into my factory career. I was decent, but I didn't care much about it because it was a lot of work. It was really difficult. It was hard, and I wasn't man enough to own up that I needed to be better, and grown up enough to recognize that if you put the work in, it makes a difference, and you get to, you have all the accolades once you put the work in, and it really matters. So it took me 3 or 4 years to figure out how to ride a dirt bike track for real, ride it. I was always looking for the smoothest line. Being a Supercross guy, I was always looking for the smoothest line, and didn't matter if it was farther out of the way, I'd lose time just to stay away from the bumps. But when I finally made a commitment to, doing it right and getting myself ready and my bike tested and kind of doing it right and going after the championship, there really is no better feeling than winning an outdoor motocross race or a series or anything like this, because this tears you up. When you go home after a race like this, you know that you are worked, and it works your body so hard. So, it was something I didn't recognize for a lot of years. So I'm still a fan. I appreciate what these guys are doing, and the winners of these races are just crazy.
What that makes me think about is we hear a lot of guys, you were able to extend your career by doing only Supercross. A lot of guys come back and they want to do Supercross. Ryan Dungey, bro. No, he's coming back for the gnarly part. He's coming back for 30+2 in the heat this summer. That says a lot about Ryan Dungey.
Well, and to MC's point, you can't fake it in this series. You cannot fake it. In Supercross, if you have the right technique and you're super smooth and finesse, and there's a lot of things you can kind of get around, within reason. Motocross, sorry, there are going to be weekends this summer where it's 90 degrees and the humidity's up and the track's brutal. And if you haven't done the work, guess what? You are going to be exposed. End of story. And I've been there. Everybody this race has probably been there at some point. Yeah. It's not a lot of fun. It's not, right? Because not only do you have to look yourself in the mirror, everybody else knows that you're tired. You haven't prepared yourself. So I think that's probably why Ryan is willing to come back, because that guy is willing to work as hard or harder than anybody, right?
Here's the thing, too. Here's the thing that I mean, look, if you're ready when the motocross series starts, you get more prepared as you go. If you're not ready, you get worse because it just tears you up. So it's going to be interesting to see who's really ready for this season, who's been doing the work, who's been putting in the time. And I know we always say that, right? When we get up here and we get to talk about these guys, we're gonna, like Jason said, it's gonna expose the weak, and it'll also expose the strength of the strong guys.
Word on the street was Dylan Ferrandis in press day, a couple seconds quicker than the thumb injury. He had done the work. He had done the work. He was ready to go, crushing. And now, I think, you have Tomac, obviously, who's kind of ready to go, and then you have...
Is he ready to go? He's kind of had a sore knee, right, in the last couple rounds.
I think, he's just like you rise up in those moments when it's time to battle,
Well, we're going to see how bad the knee injury was.
For sure.
That'll expose it.
Yeah, this will expose.
This will expose it.
This will do it.
True.
And at the last Supercross round, we were talking earlier about that, and, there was points in that race when I was like, he's going to win this race. He's got the speed. He looked great. Everything looked good. And then he just kind of rolled out of it and backed off a little bit. So maybe it was a new, maybe it wasn't. Maybe he was just kind of starting his rest period at that point, But this race tomorrow is going to show us who's got what, and it's going to be interesting. I know that, there's guys coming in here with some momentum. Anderson's one of them.
Yeah.
You guys know he's never won an outdoor overall.
That's crazy.
Which is
crazy.
pretty crazy,
He's
right?
not won an outdoor overall in either class.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's probably the one coming in. We know Sexton's good here. He's
Yep.
super fast.
Yep.
Eli's, you can't count him out just because of a bum knee. The guy's got some heart. He's outdoor badass.
We were talking about before you came up, I was kind of thinking, okay, everybody's, and MC, you would know this much better than me, everybody's kind of surveying the landscape of who's going to be legit, who do I really need to worry about? If I'm going to be champ, right? If I truly believe I'm going to be champ, who do I need to worry about? Who's for real? Who's whatever, maybe he'll have some good days, bad days, but I don't really care, right?
Yeah.
Everybody thought Ferrandis was in that camp of I really need to worry about this dude, and now he's out. So if you are Jason Anderson, who hasn't won a race yet, but I guarantee you today he's I can win this title. I know where I'm at compared to everyone else at the face right now. Those guys all just got a huge bump. Their percentage chance of winning this title just went up by a lot because one of the best guys just left.
No, the best guy just left.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So I think there's no doubt that Ferrandis was going to be the strongest guy. He was a beast last year, especially at the end of those races. To be able to battle
the danger zone.
Tomac.
Yeah, danger zone.
Yeah,
the danger zone.
He was amazing. So to be able to, like you said, for him to be out of the series, that gave a lot of guys a lot of confidence right there. And
what do you think it did for Christian Craig, who goes fast here?
Yeah.
And he's feeling pretty good, and he knows that probably he's already made a move. He knows what he wants to do. He wants to put a big stamp on the end of this year. I think he becomes a big factor tomorrow because he gets to come into this just focused on him. He doesn't have the pressure of being.
He's under the radar. He's under the radar.
Position.
Well,
yes.
Very similar to my pick.
The greatest call.
The greatest call
of all time. The number 30.
In 50 years.
It was his greatest call ever.
Oh,
going into 05, Rob said, watch number 30. He's going to win the 250 class. And I'm like, I don't even know who number 30 is. It's because it was Ivan Tedesco because he was number 1 in Supercross. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, he'll be the champ. And I'm like, he's never even won a national. And he did win the title that year.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was number 30. Greatest call in 50 years of the series. Where were we?
Christian Craig.
Christian Craig. There are guys that aren't being
talked
talked about and they have less pressure. Yes.
And he's the perfect size, I feel, right now. He's a guy that can get on top of the bike and really.
Okay, and I think he's going to be fantastic tomorrow.
Yes.
Do we, and this could be true for Eli Tomac, it could be true for Jason Anderson, do we see any Supercross hangover from Christian, who we know that title had been weighing heavily on him, right? It was, I would say, absorbing every thought in his mind for probably 2 months straight, right? To
you
finally
can tell at the last few rounds.
Absolutely. To get that sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Is it just cruise control? He's going to try hard. We know he's going to try hard. But is he going to come in here with this big point to prove, or is it just
In my opinion, I think the last few rounds were not indicative of how he was riding early in the year. Yeah. Obviously, the question is, can he do it mentally? We've known how awesome he is for a long, long time. He's led races. He's been up front a lot. This Supercross season he was really strong. We know he's strong here.
Oh, yeah.
We know he can ride one moto. Can he ride 2 motos? Can he keep his head in it? Can he stay off the ground? There's a lot of things that we would stereotype him at this point, right? But he's got to break through some of that, and maybe this is the year. What are we thinking about Ken Roxen?
Jeez.
There's another guy that could win the race tomorrow, and you're like, where did that come from? Or is it to be expected? He won the first Supercross this year, and then we never saw him again for a while. So there's a lot of unknowns, but I think Christian Craig will be strong tomorrow. I think he's riding probably more freely than he was at least at the last couple Supercross rounds. As you could tell, he was falling down and making mistakes, and so It's going to be interesting to see.
The tough part is that, like last summer, Christian Craig was really strong. He was trying to battle for podium spots, whatever, but it was almost this aura of like, well, he's not even a 450 guy, right? So whatever results he gets that's awesome. Like there's no expectation, whatever. Well, now he's about to level up, and the expectation levels up. And now you're expected to be top 3, top 5. You're a factory 450 guy full time.
And even more so with Dylan out.
Right. And maybe that's fine, right? But that's just the next kind of bridge he has to cross is, he's not racing Hunter Lawrence anymore. Like he's got to go race Tomac and Jason Anderson and these guys.
Yeah, this isn't summer internship. This is a real job now. Like his goal is to show everybody for Supercross next year, I can run with all of you guys. I'm not the second tier. I'm right there in that top group. So yeah, that's an interesting one. And then the Roxen thing, who the heck knows? I mean, it doesn't seem to matter.
He's coming out swinging tomorrow.
Every series he starts awesome.
He
starts every series
now,
awesome.
if you want to talk about Ironman in a few months or whatever, what his level is then, I don't know. I do not know, but tomorrow I feel very confident that you're going to see 94 at least leading laps. Does he win? I don't know. He's leading laps though.
We saw.
I would agree.
We talked about the fans really fell for Tomac this year. I think because he's been around so long and there's so much respect. The fans really got into the Tomac thing this year. If somehow Ken Roxen does put all the puzzle pieces together, and we roll into Ironman, and we're toward the end of the year, Budds Creek and all those races, and it's like the summer of Roxen, I can see the fans saluting that as well, because they've been on this ride with this guy the whole time. He's been in their lives the whole time. If he figures it out, massive if, he's not been able to do it for a long time, like consistent 24 motos, but I could see that being a feel-good story. It's a big if, but I could see us coming back here for the finale and people being like, man, that was awesome that year that Roxen finally overcame all the demons. Could be in play, especially with Ferrandis out. Everybody's odds have gotten that much better.
Well, he's one of the most charismatic, marketable, he's one of the biggest stars the sport's ever seen. Like he really, really is globally, right? You go anywhere and anyone that knows anything about motocross knows who Ken Roxen is. So I don't think it would take much to ignite that Ken Roxen train. It's just going to be, can he sustain it? We know what he's capable of. It's just every single time he puts himself in this really strong position, something falters along the way. He's the only one that can fix that. And I don't even know that it's up to him to fix it, right? Will his body and mind work together to allow him to keep that level up?
And Rob, you're the live announcer at these races. You see that. You see the riders respond when a crowd starts. He's in fourth, he's in third, he's coming. Tomac's done it for years. The late race charges, they started to see it from Ferrandis. You can get that sense that it's happening.
Well, the greatest part about you guys having a television program is so that the entire world can see it. And, they do such a great job of covering it, and the spotters will pick up somebody that's coming through the pack and the whole bit. Megawatt and I get to watch the entire track. So as soon as we see whatever happens to get the crowd, and we hear the crowd ignite, usually it's either a big pass, hopefully not a crash, but you hear and you feel the energy when they come around. And at outdoor motocross tracks especially, there are sections of tracks. Unadilla has a back hill section, and Budds Creek has that hill in between Henry Mountain and where he broke his wrist going up the other side. On his Forster. Remember that?
Terrible piece of land for Doug Henry.
But there's these places and like High Point on the start when they're coming into that corner and they're coming down
that hill for the first time.
You just know when someone's coming. That's the biggest part. You come out to these events and you feel these things. And for the people that maybe are over in Europe or somewhere like that, it's just like over there. We'd love to be experiencing it, but here for 50 years, you have these spots where you can just go stand and immerse yourself in the whole culture of it.
Yeah, and then eventually it's 200,000 people claim they were there and saw it in person. Oh, I was there. I was at that race that year.
I think one of the greatest things about this season, especially with, it's terrible that Dylan got hurt and he's out of this season. But right now there's a lot of underdog stories.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that need to make their mark tomorrow.
One of the biggest stories like this I remember, we're at Unadilla, it's practice. James is just killing everybody. And everyone's like a couple, 2-3 seconds off. He's just killing them. And
they were always 2-3 seconds off.
And he went down and got hurt. This is Langston's championship. He went down and got hurt. All of a sudden, the next practice, Kevin Wyndham's running a 2:11. He was running 2:4. And GL's coming, and it just ignited the entire pack. That Shorty, they knew no matter what, somebody was going to get to stand on the top step. And it just
and it wasn't James. Yeah.
It was a wild day.
Crazy how
the
that
rest
works.
of that series.
Yeah.
Pep in the step.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Doors open. Like they all know it. The door's open.
Yeah.
So we encourage everybody to watch. Races will be on MAV TV this summer. So check your local cable listing, see if you have that or get the package that has it, or you can watch streaming, which is MAV TV Plus. You can just go to promotocross.com/watch. Promotocross.com/watch. Not only will it give you the link to sign up for the subscription, but it'll also give you discounts. You save $10 off the annual subscription, or we'll save you 50% off the first month if you do the monthly subscription. So the first month, I think it's $3.49 if you do it that way. Why would you not do that?
I mean,
Super cheap.
The whole series is roughly three and a half months long.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd buy the whole thing. Don't miss anything. Don't go, oh, I didn't see that, or I'm not up to date on it because, that's.
Well,
you
also,
don't want to
my
have that.
Absolutely not.
In the last week, all my buddies, they've all signed up for the MAV TV Plus, and they're like, dude, it's just insane. There's like 300 different racing series on there. There's probably other Jeremy McGrath racing series that are on there. You've done a lot of racing in other things. They're like, you name it, off-road trucks, drag racing, stock cars, dirt track cars. There's some old GPs on there. There's enduros on there. Probably like 5 different sports Jeremy McGrath has participated in at some point.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. I'm that old. Take it easy.
Okay. Versatile. Not bad at an
Some
off-road
with the
truck
throttle,
either.
some with the right foot.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, car racing. You've done it.
Right.
Truck racing,
Right.
you've done it. All right, let's talk 250 class before we wrap this show up. Earlier we had Twitch and Axel Hodges on here, and we said, look, man, we would love to hype this up. We would love to say anybody can win, but we all know it goes through Jett Lawrence. He already won this title once. He's still young, so you figure he's still on the incline, so that's really the challenge for everybody. Either he blows it, or somebody's got to take it from him, but the odds are definitely on his side coming into it.
You know what? I was in his position one day, and I don't think he's going to blow it. I think he's going to capitalize on it. He's rolling with a lot of confidence right now, and these other guys ought to take note on what he's doing because he's got the confidence, he's got the championship, and I think you're right. I mean, we saw the momentum he had last year. I mean, even when he didn't get good starts, he would come to the front without any problem. He's a really smooth rider. And really efficient, it looks like, on the bike. So it's really fun to watch him. I think the other guys are going to have a hard time with it. But that's why we have a starting gate.
I mean, we didn't know this Ferrandis thing was going to happen. Ferrandis is out from a thumb injury.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And Rob, it's really intriguing because, his brother, Hunter, could be his stiffest competition.
His brother rode really well here against Adam Cianciarillo in his first year when he came over.
Yeah.
Really liked the track. The other guys I think that have to be mentioned, and Joe Shimoda rides really well here, and Shimoda spends so much time.
Here he is, he's 30 again.
I'm telling you, I always got his plan.
You call this one, Rob.
He always he works with them, so he's not intimidated by him. He's with those guys all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So he's super fine with them. And obviously, Mitch better than probably all of us up here. He doesn't he wants his guys battling for it.
He has got some good guys, right?
He got great guys.
Faulkner's got a lot to show.
Yeah.
McAdoo got a lot to show.
I'll tell you,
hungry.
I'll tell you the guy that can come in and do this because he's going to put himself in a good position time and time again. And if Jett trips himself up, if Jett puts himself in bad spots, Justin Cooper's going to be at the front.
Oh.
And I'm not saying that Jett won't be faster, and I'm not saying that Jett won't win a lot. But if he makes mistakes, if he opens the door up, Justin Cooper is going to be there week in and week out, sitting there because he's going to be at the front. He's going to get the whole shot. We know that, and he knows. Last year, it came down to 6 points in this championship. Jett had a really bad
Jett
finale.
was a rookie last year.
No, he raced all the year before.
Second season.
That was his second year. Yeah, I just want to qualify. The only reason we're not putting Justin Cooper right there with Jett, because last year they were stride for stride. He had a big injury. He didn't race Supercross. We just don't know his status. We might find out that Justin Cooper's right back where he was last year.
Exactly.
And with the starts and that bike, now it's on.
But
we just don't know yet.
Someone that puts themselves in a winning position time and time, it's really hard to deal with that. You can't make mistakes.
He gets good starts. Their bikes are fast.
Yep. And things work out well for you if you just put yourself at the front over and over and over.
Right. Well, you're not in the pack. You're not in the the melee of all the bikes all the time. I mean, chances go up when you're in that mix that something's going to happen. So he's going to get good starts. And honestly, there's a lot of guys on that Monster Energy Star Racing team that are pretty hungry. I mean,
I want to tell you
Thrasher
a couple
had
more
some
guys.
good races at the end.
We better not sleep on right now. R.J. Hampshire,
one number 30.
because
You already covered
R.J.
it.
Hampshire comes from Florida. I've never seen a guy at Redbud win an overall and tip over as many times as Stewart. He's a beast.
I've never seen anybody tip over as many times RJ, period.
I mean, he's a beast. Jalik Swoll, I think, is going to be okay, too. He's got a little something, but R.J. Hampshire is going to come.
And be at the front still with all the fallovers.
Somehow, yes.
It was unreal. Obviously, you called it on TV.
What's safe to say is we're going to have some great races.
Oh, yes.
That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. We're going to wrap this thing up. This is our first ever episode of Staging Area. We highly encourage you to come to the races. Go to ProMotocross.com for tickets when we come to a town near you, or go to MAV TV and watch the races there at ProMotocross.com/watch. And you can get the code so you can sign up for MAV TV Plus, or just watch it on MAV TV with your local cable provider. Yeah, it's going to be great racing. There's nothing quite like the opening round. Other sports peak in their playoffs, the last game of the year, the Super Bowl. Our Super Bowl is always Anaheim 1 and the opener for motocross, because that's the race where we know the least. We have no idea what's going to happen.
Lots of unknowns.
Lots of unknowns. Jeremy McGrath will be in the TV booth along with myself and Rick Johnson. That'll be fun. Jason, you'll be patrolling the racetrack. That'll be fun because it's the first time you're ever doing that. So there'll be drama there, maybe.
It's either going to be great or terrible. We're going to find out
together.
together.
That might be alone enough a reason to tune into the show. And Rob, you'll be up in the tower with Megawatt, which will be an awesome crowd. I mean, this is the heart of motocross, bro. It's Southern California. You want 50 years of history. This is where it goes down.
We're going to be able to tell another story in the next 50 because it just keeps going. It's the golden anniversary, the golden era. We're in the Golden State.
Golden Boy next week.
This is going to be something
the best
to be.
seat in the house, too.
I do. I hope you guys have a great time on the television, because being able to have RJ, MC, and JT, it's not a lot of initials, but it's a lot of star power there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they call me Weed. Just too many letters. Yeah. We'll have Rick Johnson with us.
You're J-Dub.
Yeah, I got to have to be J-Dub now. I think we're going to wrap this show up. Are we good to go here? We're at 7 o'clock. We did it. 1 hour bench racing with us. Enjoy the freestyle that's going to be taking place at Monster Energy right behind us if you're here. If not, tune us in tomorrow. And don't forget, we'll have Staging Area next Saturday or next Friday night, 6 o'clock from Hangtown. Thanks for watching. Yes.